2016 IBSF BMW World Championships fast approaching their conclusion at Innsbruck in Austria as a light snow drifts down from the sky above the Tyrol region of Austria. We are ready for the blue ribbon event of the championships, the four-man bobsled. The first of 4 runs in the race for the medals, and so many questions still to be answered on this short, fast Austrian track. Hello everybody, Martin Haven with alongside me, John Morgan trackside here at the Igls track. And John, is it all about the start in this race?
Well, it's all about the start, and then it's about the start. I mean, it's a short 1,220-meter track built for the 76 games. These guys, Mel Bardis, they own the track record. I don't see it being broken by them because they're hurt. But you have to get in, get down around this little quick curve and be settled here. Everybody around this Omega curve, you just can't afford to make any variance. The speed, you have to accelerate. It's pretty flat up here. Curve 3, and then this is where you can just throw away your best start time of the competition with any kind of a mistake here in these little 3/4 combination, 4, 5, and 6. And now you start to pick up speed into the Kreisel. Big whip around, 270-degree change of direction. You exit underneath where you came in. 8 really sets you up the bottom part of the track. 9, you might head here to the left, but you have to go straight into 10 because now you hit 74, 75 miles an hour. 3/4 combination, the labyrinth, and boy, does it get quick. And it's tough for the 4-man sleds down here. Into the finish, it's short, it's quick. Uphill finish, and then you got to stop the sled. They've had a lot of problems and issues stopping the sled, and if they don't stop the sled in time and it goes up under the outrun here, you could hurt your runners unless they stop it quickly. Pretty short track, very easy to get down, Martin, but boy, is it tough to get down fast.
Oscar's Mel Bardis set the start record 3 years ago, set the track record last season in the 4-man race, and will he be one of our favourites? Well, Max Arndt, Germany definitely is. Nico Walter, maybe the junior world champion Johannes Lochner. 4 German sleds here. What about the Russians? What are they going to do? What about the Latvians? What are they going to do? And Rico Pater, he might be a dark horse. The British, they've been very quick starters. Can they hold their pace? What about Johannes Lochner, the double world champion in 2-man? Who knows? I mean, there are so many imponderables here, but will it be all decided by the first 4 seconds of every heat?
This is Friedrich. His team here, he's coming off that injury. Of course, he won the World Championships last week, wounded in the 2-man. So it's all going to be, right now, my favorites are definitely Friedrich and Arndt. See who gets off the best at the start.
Talking to Coach Rennie Spies, he said, if you're 700-800s behind, he said, you're in real trouble. Well, Max Arndt chose when he wanted to go off. He goes off second, allows Rico Pater to sweep a bit of snow away. Francesco Friedrich, Nico Walter racked up behind him. Alexander Kazyanov, quick in training. What about junior world champion in 2-man and 4-man? Johannes Lochner goes off ahead of former Olympic champion Steve Holcomb and his teammate Nick Cunningham. Further down the order, the Brits, Lamin Dean, John Jackson. And going off 19th, Oscar's Mel Bardis. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one to call. We're going to have to sit back and watch. Stay with us. Rico Pater for the Swiss team kicks the action off. The 32-year-old chauffeur, 7th and 6th in the 2-man and 4-man worlds last year.
3rd in World Cup points, 5:06. This is our rabbit. Now, Francisco Friedrich and Max Arndt had a choice to draw where they wanted to roll because they were first in World Cup standings, and they didn't draw the #1 position. But Friedrich, when it came to Peter, he took it. So we'll see if the snow helps or hurts him. He's the first man down. He couldn't do it. That's not good out of 6.
You see the track workers stepping into the track to wipe down the straights. Out of 7, good run through 8. Now this is a critical exit off corner 9.
3 bronze medals in 6 races, 7 races so far this year. Look how quick these 4-mans are at the bottom part of the course, and it's tight. So he's our rabbit. Ooh, he hits right track record.
A brand new track record. Wow.
Okay, hello.
50.81.
Didn't see that coming.
200s inside the old mark set last year by Oscar's Mel Bardis and his team. 127.9 at the bottom, 79.5 miles an hour. Now, unofficially, the track record fell in training, but that is now an official new track record.
Well, what would have been if he didn't tap to the right there, right before he got onto the Kreisel, and then you saw that adjustment, that tough transition That's because he got late, had to come left or right onto the curve. And look at the heads down here. Watch the heads, right? The back ends of the sleds here too. Oh, you see that snow come up?
Yep.
You're going to see a lot of that. It's really tight for these 4-man sleds that are about 6 miles an hour faster when they originally built the track 40 years ago.
Well,
40 years ago now, the Olympics were staged here.
Looks like a good run to start the competition for Rico Pato. What about Max Arndt? Never off the podium this season. He is our 4-man world champion.
Okay, this is going to be it. I mean, if Peter got a 5:06, he should go 5:5.
Oh,
that's not good.
Trouble getting
not
in.
Good. 5:06, second best speed too. That's not good. We saw a German lose the world championships here in 1993. Wolfgang Hoppe, one of his guys, fell at the start in the first run. He never recovered, finished outside the medals.
Only 100th behind Rico Pato. This is the best 4-man driver of the season.
He's going to need to be good because that's loss of speed up there. Oh, he's done well though. To only be down 100th here, he should get green numbers by the time he gets below 9.
It's a short track here. The German sleds don't hit that aerodynamic wall that slows them on the really long ones, but he's 1.3 Ks behind Peter.
He's still holding it. That mistake, he just couldn't catch up with that mistake. Right to the 100th. This is the persona of this track, or these times. It's going to be like this all 4 runs. Christoph Lange doesn't like it. His team made a mistake in the first 60, 70 meters. It won't be the last team. And we haven't seen anybody fall out of the sled all year.
You can't say that with only 2 sleds down in the first of 4 heats. That's just asking for trouble. And you know who they're coming looking for.
Well, let's watch him, get in, get down. The choreography on ice here, it's so important in Innsbruck. Watch them jump up on the side, little railing here. Now watch him get in. Now watch, Arndt's got to get control. The sled's already out of control. Look at that.
See his hands crossed over above his head, hit Martin Putzer in the Kevin Corona in the visor.
Oh, the push bar hit there too.
Yeah.
Oh, so that is almost, it was only a minor disaster.
Yeah.
That could have been major here. And this looks pretty good there. No friction.
Now the question is he 200s away from the lead, or are he and Rico Peter both in trouble? We might find out in the next minute, because here comes
we go.
The 2- and 4-man junior world champion and double 2-man world champion, Francesco Friedrich.
Torsten Margus said 5 flat. 4.99.
Wow.
He was right on.
All
He told me right before, up top, half hour ago, I said, what are you going to get? He said 5 flat, 4.99.
And a good clean load. 700s was the margin that Reddy Spies was saying might be
look
hard.
What that start does. You just launch yourself into a 2/10, 3/10 lead, and now he's just got to hold on.
He's a kilometre an hour slower than his rivals through the first 2 speed tracks.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of time in the bank. It might come back. He's still pulling away.
He's 4 kilometres down on Rico Pato. He can't keep the lead unless the snow is getting into the timing eyes, and that's possible as well.
He's still holding on.
Wow.
2,200, so this is all relative to the start, but boy, he tapped out of 13.
Well, he won the 2-man world title last year, was 4th in the 4-man, but...
Well, there's a statement.
Yeah, another 4-man run from Francesco Friedrich.
Well, I think that says it right there. A little statement from Gregor Birnbach, who had his birthday a couple days ago. And here's the exit of 9. And this looks pretty good. Little tap there. That's not too costly, these huge buses that fly down this track. Look at Gregor Birnbach there.
And Torsten Margus behind, super stoked with that 4.99 start. Now that throws down the gauntlet for this man, Nico Walter. He's a real 4-man expert. Can he get into the mix? Silver medalist last year in Winterberg.
Hulkenberger, 6'7". Christian Posner, married to Jamie Grubel, poser of the U.S. And Nico Walter's been in a little bit of a slump. Didn't have a very good world championships, and talked to the coaches beforehand. They have the same type of a skid, 5:03.
Only 400s behind teammate Francesco Friedrich. What would it be at the bottom?
Clean here. 2 German sleds, but a little sloppy this straightaway coming up. You saw him flick the runners. Right here. Let's see how straight he is here. Good. He's only 8 down. That's awesome. For that start time deficiency to be only 800ths off of Friedrich tells me he's flying.
He really loves this 4-man sled racing. Middle of the track into 10, little height early, but he gets it under control for 11 and into the labyrinth. Here we go. 1300s back. He'll be in second place at the line, but how far adrift?
16.
Oh, that's a big margin. That
okay.
is a big margin.
Now we're looking at, you know, a German potential sweep here.
Well, with 4 sleds in the field, we've always been looking at a German potential sweep, but...
Well, Peter's only 200s ahead of Arndt. Arndt made a major mistake at the start. Nico Walter positioned himself to have a chance to get on the podium with this pretty good first run. Little skid at the top and the bottom. Look at the back end of the sled. That's pretty good. Boy, these things just rocket down this short, narrow track.
Alexander Kasyanov of Russia, 7th in last year's 4-man worlds, 4th in both 2-man and 4-man at the Olympic Games at Sochi in Russia. But that was a track where his knowledge and driving helped him out. What about the start here?
Russia has had a little push-off during the week training, and the brakeman, Statisov, he didn't know if he was going to make it. He obviously did. Good to see him on the sled. All track and field guys. Well, they're gonna have to get 505, 506 to challenge here. 505, that gives him a chance. And he's a formidable 4-man driver. He's clean up top here. He could get into that top 3 at the bottom. Well, he's already 11 back. That's relative to that start. Now he needs to stop the bleeding. He can't get it to 15 or 12. That's pretty good. Only lose 100 more in that section. Clean. That looks pretty quiet. Exit there. Watch the heads down here. Good. Better. Could be second. There it is. Well, Alexei Kazanov said there's no reason for the Germans to sweep this competition. I'm going to sneak in there and show him that I've got the goods to deliver, and he's been doing it all season. He's 5th in World Cup points, including a gold medal, his first ever in Park City earlier last month. Look at the cohesion. They hit the bar all at the same time. Now look at Kazanov's up front. Some of the drivers will come back from the back start block. And this is why we call poetry on ice, you know, it's choreography. I mean, look at the strides. Feet coming down together. It's pretty to watch, isn't it?
Alexander Kasyanov, 100th in front of Nico Walter as they battle for second. Francesco Friedrich of Germany leads. Justin Cripps for Canada, having a torrid time this season. Last year's 4-man worlds, only 13th.
Doing pretty good in practice. 507. That's the 6th best time of 6 sleds. The Canadians doing well in practice.
Gives away only 800ths of a second at the start, but a quarter second back already.
So the Russian sled was 600s, 500s down, and only 11 at that spot. And now the Cripps is just, he's got a parachute out here. Ooh, tap out of.
Local knowledge says that 3 or 4 sleds off the top get the best ice, and after that it starts to deteriorate, especially with the weight of these 4-man sleds.
Oh, he's airborne into 13. That's not what they expected. They had better times than this in practice and in training. Olaf Hampel, the former German Olympic gold medalist. Stefan Bosch, another junior world champion from Germany that coached the Canadians. Pretty quiet.
1, 2, 3.
Well, we saw Cripps have some problems here in training. Let's see the way the sled comes off. If your sleds come off there too early, they can roll back on the curve. Look at that tap on the exit of Kreisel. We saw it. Then the crossover pressure into 8. He lost all his time, though, up in 2 and 3. And I'm sure that's what his coach is telling him, that, boy, you lost all your time up in 2 and 3.
Pierre Luders at the back, the Russian coach, with Alexei Stulnev. Stulnev fast in training, had a quickest and a third quickest heat out of the training runs. 28-year-old from Moscow.
He starts from up front also. Look at the athleticism, and then you run across the ice at 20 miles an hour, and you got to jump in this skinny little bathtub and get down with an aerodynamic profile. That's a pretty good start. Now, if he can keep it straight here, look how low he is in the Callan. I've always liked the way he sits in there. He looks a lot like that coach of his named Pierre Luders. The way he sits in that sled. Boy, a lot of transition of the helmets as they come off the exit of 5. Would have been late there. Boy, he's also buried. Holding it at 38. So this looks like probably a 6th. 3900's back. The Russians are shaking their head, but hey, they got a Russian sled. It's in 2nd. Swiss sled hanging around in 4th. The guy that's in 5th was one of the favorites to win the competition, Max Arndt, but they made a mistake at the start. Look at the heads. How quiet they are here. Which means that they know how to ride in the sled. Aerodynamic profile, feel comfortable in there. Can't act like a sandbag and be stiff.
Great Britain's Lamin Dean, 34-year-old Grenadier Guardsman from Manchester originally. Ben Simons, Bruce Tasker and Joel Fearon, all of whom raced in the 2-man competition. Bruce Tasker driving to a 4th place finish. Great Britain's best 2-man result for nearly 50 years.
They need to get down to 496, 495 here. This team has been lighting up this start track all week. 5 flat. Boy, I expected them to have the best start, and they had a little waiver. But there's so much media attention on this British team, I wonder if it's going to be too much pressure for Le Mans. We're going to find out right here. Only 4 back. Linford Christie at the top of the track today.
Yeah, Linford Christie's here. Former Olympic sprinter Mark Lewis Francis has been training with the team as well in the Europa Cup this year.
14 back.
2nd fastest start. They lie 4th on split times. What Coach Gary Anderson said they needed least today was snow in the run.
20 back, losing all the way down. Of course, he went 8th. He'll have a better chance with the better ice with this rest of the crowd. 6th, that's not too bad. I really thought that they were going to rocket to a 495 start. What we saw of them in training, we were both looking at each other every day. They were coming out with the best starts. The Germans were 20 hundredths behind them at the start, and look, there's no joy in Mudville right here. I don't know. See, he comes off the back block. He doesn't set his feet in the ice, Lamin Dean, but you know, these are 4 spectacular athletes that the British have assembled here. And look at the feet just about coming down at the same time. I mean, that's the choreography on ice we talk about. And they don't plan that. They don't plan their strides. It's just natural.
A lot of them with services backgrounds, they like to march in step. Next up is the big Austrian hope. What is Benny Meyer going to do? Had a great race last time out in St. Moritz. But this is a whole different ball game. It's been a good week for him so far. Last Sunday claimed the bronze medal in the team competition.
Gonna need to get away 5'6", 5'7". He's got good speed in the bottom part of the track. 5:02. That's impressive.
They know the importance.
That's awesome. Now, these are not the mammoth athletes that the other sleds show up with, but they've been very impressive the last couple of weeks with their start times in St. Moritz when he captured a silver medal, which blew everybody away. And here he is on his home track. Let's see what he can do. Only 9 back. And he's fast in training on the bottom part of the track. He's going to need to be.
Going to need the Austrian shortcut through corner 10 to find speed. But this is a great looking run. 4th place so far. Can he use the Austrian secrets? Will he be in the top half dozen at the line?
No, but he's close.
3/10 back.
There's his father, Manfred, on the left. The Austrians won a silver medal this morning in women's skeleton. Historic event. First ever for Austrian women's skeleton of the World Championships. They're not real happy getting out of the sled. Remember the first couple teams down were high-fiving and screaming and yelling track records. But this is impressive. 5:02 from these guys. They have done a lot of team training because these guys have really, their Austrians have had a start time like this in 20 years.
Well, how different is this? Last year in the 2-man 22nd and in the 4-man 18th, Benny Meyer. He currently lies in 7th place with the best 9 sleds in the field already gone. So this has been a huge season for the 21-year-old. Next up, the first of our Latvians, Oskar Kībermanis, and Kībermanis, the healthiest of the lot, but has he got the pace?
Yeah, well, they could light up a 4.99 too. These 4 unbelievable athletes. There's 4.99. His problem is the next 1,200 meters. He's had an issue driving down the track all year, although he's had some better results in 4-man. He's ranked 9th in points, 6th last time out in St. Moritz, 6th in Park City. So he's had some improvement in 4-man. Only 1,400s back, but boy, with that tie for the best start, he's going to bleed more here quickly.
15th in last year's Worlds. Joint fastest starter. He's now down to 6th spot on the split times.
Going to fall more late there.
8th out of 10 sleds so far.
Let's watch the coach here.
Big skid across the line.
Their coach, Sandis Prusis, they lost him to a broken leg 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And it came out of the captain's meeting, not far from this spot right here. It slipped and broke his leg. He's in an Innsbruck hospital. Sandis, we hope you get well.
Yeah, broke his ankle very badly, and there's a hamstring injury as well there maybe for Jannis Janssen. Stumbled out of the sled. Is he okay?
Well, the 4.99 start. Look at, again, he's locked into the front, the driver. And these are decathletes supreme. I mean, the whole, seems like the whole decathlete federation is all in these bobsleds for Latvia. Brakeman doesn't have his arms locked enough. You know, they're fast, so there's no critique there. You know, they've the best start in the competition, but just not the good downtime.
They'll look like they're okay. 10 sleds down in our field of 30. First of 4 heats in the 4-man bobsleigh World Championships. Little snow continues to drift down in this first heat. Simone Bertazzo of Italy now. Bertazzo, the 33-year-old, only did 4-man in last year's Worlds, finished 17th.
That start time is wow. He'll be 50 hundredths down at the next clock.
He's going to struggle to make the final 20 in the 4th run tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, there's the 50. Now, if it stays at 60, you know, he's good on the bottom, but on this track, it's all about start. I mean, there's the start, and then there's the start, and then there's a little bit of a drive down. That wasn't good there. So he's once he got by that second split, 60 hundredths down, he's only 65. He'll have good speed at the bottom. He's one of the most experienced, if not the most experienced driver in the field.
Best ever 4-man World Championships result for Bertazzo, 15th. Well, that was back in Lake Placid, where there's a lot more ice and a lot more driving involved in the result.
That's all he's got as a 15th, for sure.
Best result in World Championship 4-man. He started out as a real 2-man expert,
Yeah, bronze medal in the 2007 World Championships in St. Moritz, but pulled out of the two-man last week with an injury after the end of the first heat, hamstring.
Didn't look like he was very comfortable getting out the sled there either.
Well, probably still suffering.
That he is.
That wasn't bad. He came off late off Kreisel, then into 8, no problem. Here, some friction, but not bad.
There is Simone Bertazzo and the crew of the Italian sled, only Italian sled in this four-man world. Plenty of Russian sleds, though. We've got one currently lying second, Alexander Kasyanov. Alexei Stulnev is 8th. And what about Nikita Zakharov now? 12th in the start draw. Zakharov, 11th last year in the Worlds, tied with his teammate Alexei Stulnev in four-man.
Best finish of the season was 11th in Winnipeg. So, a little bit of a variance there.
Good start, 5:08. Didn't do two-man last week. Didn't do two-man last year either. But he did race in a team competition on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, the last 3 events, 14th, 15th, and then a 12th in the European Championships last week in St. Moritz 2 weeks ago.
Of course, that takes some of the North American sleds out of the mix as well. So again, down in the teams.
This isn't bad for his position. I think he's going to be better than his 12th start.
Yeah.
He could get in the top 10.
Ahead of Justin Cripps and Simone Bertazzo at the moment.
He's hanging in there. It could get Cripps right to the 100. It could be 10th or 11th. 11th, 59. He's only 300s from Cripps. He drove himself up into one more position.
1900ths ahead of Simone Bertazzo. That doesn't sound like much, less than 0.2 of a second, but it's a huge time gap.
Hey, on this track, where the winners are going to be separated by less than 5-10 hundredths.
Well, we're talking
after
about
4 runs.
Talking about people being 600 or 700ths off at the start, almost being out of contention.
Well, watch him get in, get down, cat-like movements, but the sled, look at the runners. He's just getting his hands on the runners, and all of a sudden he's got to worry about the wall on his right or left, and now he's starting to steer. Look at that. He's steering around that first curve, not allowing the curve to take him. And when you steer, friction. It's going to be interesting here.
Junior World 2 4-man and 2-man world champion, Johannes Lochner. Lochner came out to the silver medal in the two-man worlds last weekend, beaten only by the reigning champion Francesco Friedrich. Wow!
Well, so much being worried about Lochner. I didn't think he's going to have a start. They've been sleeping all week in the 6 practice trips. He had nothing like that. Ooh, took a lot of that curve right there. 4, 6 there. Boy, he took a lot of 4.
400ths of a second off the leader. He's in second place behind Francesco Friedrich, the new two-man world champion.
Let's see what he can do in the bottom of the technical part of the track. And that looks like his two-man final run when he was tied going into the 4th and final run, and he lost out to his teammate Francisco Friedrich with a similar mistake on a curve 9.
That's dropped him from 2nd to 4th place and 7th at the line. That was a really critical error. He's behind Max Arndt and Lamin Dean.
Yeah, but he's striking. With that start time, don't count him out in the next run.
Well, the problem for him is Francesco Friedrich's team started 499, 498's not enough of a difference at the start.
Well, when the start here is, these are another quad of German athletes who are unbelievable, including Lochner. He's about 6'2" and lean, and he's what, 25. And then here's the exit of 9. Here's the mistake. And he just comes off, and he's trying to steer away from it. Look, he's trying to steer away from hitting the wall. That's a no-no. You just got to hit the wall, let the sled go straight. He lost 2/10 on that mistake.
Well, all 4 Germans are young. Walter, 25. Friedrich, 25. Lochner, 25. Even Arndt's only 28. Stephen Holcomb, not in the 20s anymore, but the former world and Olympic 4-man champion. What can the night train do here?
Well, Brian Scheimer says they're going to get 2 better than where they finish at the start. So he thinks that they're going to have some, there's some problems. No problems, so 13th best start, so Scheimer thinks they're going to finish about 11th. Look at the number 2 guy. He can't get in. His helmet's way up. They still can't get him in.
He's still trying to get his knees
This is the problem they had in
Holcomb.
practice. And the other thing, too, is now he's in. Look, he's already 3/10 down. And I don't think the number 2 guy's still locked in yet. Watch the way his head starts to slap around.
Well, it looks like he hasn't got his knees, his legs around the driver. He's got his knees up under his chin.
Could be Frank DeLuca is listed as the number 2 guy. And Scheimer says these are all great athletes. They just haven't put it together yet, and they're 2 years out of the games. Speed's good, the drive is good. You know, we expect that out of Holcomb. And splits across at 14th, so 13th
across the line as well.
Well, the start, you know, and I'm sure they're going to be looking at each other like, what happened, guys?
Yeah, look at his knees. He couldn't get his legs around Holcomb.
And then he's pushing into Holcomb's back the whole way. Watch what he says.
Well, that is an extremely uncomfortable way to ride in a bobsled.
Yeah, you can't be pushing your knees into the...
So it's the red and white helmet behind Stephen Holcomb.
Valdez and Sam
slips
McGough.
off that bunk, and now he's just scrabbling to get in.
Look at now, he's just having all he can do to get down, and
his legs are behind him.
You know, and now he's pushing on Holcomb.
Yeah.
Look, they aren't settled. Holcomb knows something's going on because he's getting pushed.
And Carlo Valdez behind, trying to get in. So there's Frank Del Duca, and he'll be feeling pretty sore from that as well.
Not a great way to ride down the track.
Next up, Nick Cunningham from Monterey, California. 30-year-old. And again, just a little long low from James Reed.
So, you know, the American team's suffering at the start like they did last weekend in the 2-man. And, you know, Scheimer, the coach, says he's got the athletes here. He's just got to get it into a team cohesion. And, you know, this time 4 years ago, Holcomb's team had about 13 years of experience between the 4 guys. And the 3 guys, they had about 9 years, and this year's Holcomb's team's got about 4. 2 first-year guys and a second-year guy.
Cunningham currently lying 13th on splits, ahead of Batazzo and Holcomb. Down at the bottom.
Ooh, tap there, not bad though. You know, the same thing. You know, Cunningham drives 13th spot. He's just 800s ahead of Batazzo. And now Holcomb might be in the...
Yeah, Holcomb is in the danger zone. Because there's a lot of talent still to come. 2 quick Latvian sleds. We've got another British sled and a whole host of others who could challenge. Koreans, another Canadian sled.
Kreisel, exit, or not a 9, excuse me, curve 9, and then this is Kreisel to 8. Nice, you know, but you start so far back.
Yeah, started 13th, finished 13th. Stephen Holcomb 2/10 adrift.
You know, Holcomb's problem, yeah, here's your standings.
Francesco Friedrich leads a tight field here, as we expect in this 4-man competition. Ugis Zalems of Latvia. Zalems now 30 years old, increasingly experienced. 6th in a 2-man competition last year. Didn't race 4-man in Winterberg. Celebrated his 30th birthday yesterday. A day off from training.
Well, there should be some good start here. It should be 05, 06. Latvians are deep.
Best 4-man result for him, 6th place back in 2012's Worlds.
Really, Zellums?
Yeah.
Back in Lake Placid?
Yeah.
Really? That's good research.
But he's kind of not got back up to that level since then, really.
A lot of movement by the number 2-man sled, but look how low they are. Ooh, that's not good.
Last World Championships he competed on in this track back in 2012, the Junior Worlds. He was in 5th spot in the 4-man contest. If he could replicate that, he'd be doing astonishingly well. 14th on the split times, though. That's not happening here.
Boy, no problems with these sleds getting through 11, 12, and 13 like we've seen in the past.
Wow, down to 15th, only ahead of Stephen Holcomb. And he's 100 behind Simone Batazzo. These big four-man sleds flying at the bottom of the track, 82 miles an hour through the final corner. No wonder it's a hard job to break them down to a halt.
Exit of Kreisel, you got to watch out here in this exit of Kreisel. The sleds could come off too early and roll into our picture. Watch the back end of the sled here in 8. Airborne.
Yeah.
Try to, you know, that crossover from right to left isn't the optimal line. We just saw what happens.
It's bumped right up in the air. He walked away from that one knowing it wasn't a great one. What about John Jackson from Great Britain? Had a year off after injury last year. His wife Paula will be watching with Poppy, and the twins that they're expecting. Paula, former British bobsleigh brakewoman and driver.
Well, they had some sizzling times in training. Ooh, look at their runner tabs.
A little skid, 5:09 start. How much does that skid cost them?
Well, they're on the part of the track which is not technical. It's about just letting the sled run and accelerate. John Jackson's doing a very good job at that. He's only 3,700s back with a deficient start time. He's doing pretty good here.
Man of Great Britain had 4 drivers in the sled, including himself. Jacko's got Bradley Hall, who raced in the 2-man competition.
Did well.
Yeah, he raced last week. John Baines and Andy Matthews behind.
British have recruited. They got some good athletes out here. 2 in the 4-man competition.
Picking up a spot at the line to 13th place, so he's ahead of Nick Cunningham. So the British sleds, Lamindine 6th and John Jackson 13th. That was a good start-off drive from Jacko.
Not a lot of talking there, Tara.
No, 200s out of the top 12.
See, he comes from the back block, doesn't lock his feet into the ice, and then everybody wants to hit it the same time Jocko does. So it's timing, it's cohesion. I mean, you talk about getting off the ball in American football, getting off on the snap. Explosion here is so important, but this is friction. This is friction at your point when you want to accelerate, and then he's got to look at him steering around instead of taking the curve. I mean, I don't know. That is one of the first sleds we've seen do that.
Lloyd Costeg from La Plagne in France. Costeg, 28 years old now. 5th in the Junior Worlds here in Igls in 2012.
5'10" or so, be good for them.
Missed the cut of the final heat last year. He was equal 21st, but best 4-man result, 17th in St. Moritz in the Worlds.
He got a piece of Bruno Mangeon equipment, his coach, who won the World Championships in 1999 for France. And a bronze medal in '98. And so Bruno was always good with the equipment, besides being the fact he was an excellent driver. Lloyd is showing some promise.
17th start, 17th at the moment on split times. Little flop off 9 into 10.
And here in the bottom, he's going to have to be perfect. He's not bad.
Ooh, up to 15th, ahead of Batazzo.
Ahead of Holcomb, too.
Yeah, Holcomb still on the bubble.
14th. Knocked off Cunningham, Bertazzo, Zalmas,
Yeah.
and Holcomb. That's pretty good. For that start time, that's one of the best drives. You take the start out of the mix.
Ooh! Brakes not working the way they should have done
watch
that.
out. If they shoot up there in that rubber, too, that's going to really destroy the runners.
Well, he started 1,100 slower than John Jackson, came down just 900s behind him.
Did a lot of good things here with that deficiency. The worst start time. Look at the runners. Kept it off the wall.
Yeah, takes the skid and it brings him back. But here,
this is like, put your seatbelt on, guys.
Brakeman is
Bang.
not hauling on as hard as he needs to there.
Don't think they won't check the alignment of that sled, too, when they get back to the top. That's pretty hard hit.
Hopefully
How
the
careful
bales,
they are with the
bales on the side will take the impact and not transfer it through to the axle and the steering gear. Well, here's our biggest question mark, perhaps. What about Oskars Melbardis? He's had injury in the back. Dalmas Juskins, his man at number 2, with an Achilles injury.
Yeah, they're awesome athletes. They should be forward. They got the track record at the start 2 years ago, but what can they do here? Ooh, 497. And these are a bunch of couple at least wounded individuals.
And we wondered if they had put everything into the two-man and whether there'd be anything left. There is.
Well, needs to be 500-600 behind here to have a chance getting the top three. Ooh, lost a lot of time. Of course, that could be the track deficient. Track just deteriorating.
Yeah. Track will probably give up a couple of attempts.
Still doing pretty good. Should get down here within the top 6 or 7.
Great lines. Man Bobsleigh can really drive a sled, two-man or four-man. Showed it last year, won everything in the season. Second and third in the World Championships.
That's not bad. I mean, you know, Sanders versus heart goes out to you again. The Latvian coach, you look at the Latvian crowd, they're stunned.
Well, listen, off the 19th start draw, it was always going to be hard to get a close first run.
Look at Damon's limp. Now watch the driver get out here. He's got a bad back. That's Oscar's.
Yeah.
He's probably going to walk right to therapy. These are four. I mean, the driver and the guy behind him, Damas Drieskins, average 245 pounds, 6'2", 6'3". And the Latvians, the Germans, they bring, and the Russians, they bring some really great athletes to the start here. But I think that they have a problem here, too. Yeah, look at this left. Look at the runner on our left.
It's drifting out before he's got full control of the steering. Now he starts to allow the
ski.
curve to steer him away.
Looking for the replay.
He's looking to see what the gap is to the front of the field, and it's nearly over 3/10. Next up, Chris Spring for Canada. Second of our Canadian sleds. And this is the sled that he crashed in Altenburg, nearly destroyed the Phoenix. His favorite four-man sled is back.
They knew that Spring. Now, I got it corrected here that I got yelled at up top of the track by this guy named Lascelles Brown that came. I've been saying he's 42 years old. He said, John Morgan, I'm 41. So Lascelles had corrected that, and he's probably the fittest athlete. There's something going on with the helmet here.
That's Sam Jaguar's hood, I think, flapping out the back of his race suit.
We saw that up top. 26 is pretty good.
Well, Spring off the 8th fastest start, just outside the top 10 at the moment. A 10th place run here would give him such a boost because the track is not giving its best at the moment. Little skiddy there. 12th at the line, 14th place, skidded away out of the top 10. But again, with the track the way it is, that is a good-looking run. He and Man Bobsleigh have been able to produce better times, really, than the track has suggested it might be giving up.
Well, Man Bobsleigh's produced the best time, and he's in 9th. That's the track. He's going to have a better chance in the second run.
There's Sam Jaguar at the back. Yeah, the hood should be tucked down in the race suit or cut off or under the helmet.
Said it. I don't know if they said it to him, but watch see the little hoodie in the back? That's what the coaches, somebody didn't catch that. That should be tucked in. And don't think, see it blowing away like that? I mean, oh, look at the skid too up top.
Yeah.
Or at the bottom of the track there, 12, 13.
Well, he's in with a shot. Justin Cripps 12, Chris Spring in 14th place. It's Francesco Friedrich who leads the field with 20 of our 30 sleds down. First of 4 heats in the four-man World Championships. Yoon Jung-won of Korea starts in 21st spot.
Hasn't got the four-man figured out yet. They will. Track in Korea opens in 2 weeks' time. The push bar is still out there. 16 start, not too bad.
5th and 18th in the two-man and the four-man last year in Winterberg, Germany. That gives you an indication of the difference in level that he's got in the two-man, where he's become a World Cup race winner, and the four-man.
And he's about to win the World Cup title next week in Koenigsegg. Would be an awesome way to launch the sport into Asia. Gone on the World Cup tour this year, the historic gold medal that they had in Whistler. This is after losing their coach this weekend. 73, hanging in there. Ooh, skid there, looked a lot like Chris Spring's skid.
Oh, and drills the wall down at the bottom, 51.45. He's in 20th, ahead of former Olympic champion Stephen Holcomb. So Yun Jun Won, his aim will be to get in the top 20 for the final heat. Try and improve a little bit on his 18th equal place last year. There's Yun Jun Won.
You know, the start, you know, it's up to the brakeman to put the push bars in, and here they are. That tucks his head down, and all of a sudden, oh, let's check things out. I got to put these things down, okay? And I don't know if that cost him too much, but in hundreds of seconds, at that speed, I don't know, there might have been 100 there, 200.
400 or 500 seem to have been ahead of Ugo Salim's 19th, not 20th, and so, yeah, it all helps. Next up for Austria, Lukas Kolb with Markus Gluck. Their two-man second-string driver, Markus Streichel, is at third. And Adrian Platzkummer is the man on the back of this sled. As you might expect here in Innsbruck in Austria, a lot of support for the local drivers. And they were rewarded today with silver medal in women's skeleton by one of the poster girls of these championships, Janine Flock.
Skid there out of 2 to 3. You know, this is one of the young Austrian pilots. I mean, Michael is in the sled with him. We competed last week in the two-man. The Austrians have made some gains. And, of course, the last Austrian gold medal in the Olympic Games was Ingo Appelt right here from Innsbruck. Owns a jewelry shop downtown. And they won the gold medal in Albertville. But since then, Austrians have been reaching.
Fourth in the four-man junior worlds last year. He only started at the beginning of the 2013-14 season, so this is his second full year.
Well, through and down in his world championship rookie, there's not a lot of rookies in the field like we saw in skeleton or women's bow. You know, there's probably only, we're going to see 3 or 4 more now, maybe.
We have, 3 more making World Championship driving debuts. And the emphasis there is on driving, because Billy Meyerhans has competed as a brakeman in the Worlds before. So has Dominic Dvorak come to that.
So here's his feet were locked in on the ice at the start. He didn't come off the block. And, you know, these young guys just got to go out and put it together in the summer. You know, the start it's everything here on the Innsbruck track, Igls.
So the Austrians currently lying in 22nd place. Next up, Billy Meyerhans for Switzerland, the second of our Swiss sleds, the A team. Billy competed as a brakeman up to the end of the 2002 season with Martin Anna. Was he hobbling there onto the ice?
Well,
or was he just being careful not to slip? Yeah.
Be careful.
It is icy after all.
This is the oldest pilot in the field, 48 years young. Pretty good cohesion there, 4:25:21 start.
Well, he's just beaten away. His team have beaten away Lukas Kolb, who's on the other end of the age scale, is one of the youngest, maybe the youngest in the field.
We had the youngest and the oldest. Billy, though, he knows how to do it. I mean, his sled looks great. Team's got more logos on it, probably has to have extra weight out of the sled. All the logos they have on themselves look like a Formula One team, the way they present themselves. Ooh, late there. Watch him here at 8.
They retired after 2002, came back just a few years ago, started driving again.
Really got his hands full there.
21st position at the moment, ahead of Lukas Kolb. He was in front of Stephen Holcomb. He's dropped back behind the former world and Olympic champion, but now he is in front of Stephen Holcomb.
By 200s.
Wow.
Holcomb's going to have to dig deep, get in the top 20, which he should if he doesn't have that start mishap again. But
at the moment, 20th place is only 700ths away from Stephen Holcomb, only 5 away from Billy Meyerhans.
Billy had his hands full with this sled coming down the track.
Yes, he did. A couple of slippy moments.
Okay, we can talk about curve 9. Now watch, you're going to see a lot of lateness here coming off. Now watch the rudder tips. This is exit of Kreisel.
Yep.
Ooh,
it's that bump going into 8. And then 9 to 10.
This is 9 to 10. This is what I thought were, look at the rudder tips. Boy, he had that all the way down the track.
A little bit of a pinball wizard effect. Yeah, finding a little less grip than he was expecting, I think, after training. Well, next up, another man who has competed in the Worlds as a brakeman with Jan Verber. Dominik Dvorak, though, is driving now in his first World Championships for the Czech Republic. Verber is here, but he's too injured to compete. There's Jan Verber right at the back of the shot, in fact, as Dominik Dvorak, the youngster, blasts away.
You can see what happens there, you know, that, I don't know what that is. Some of the teams, including one of the favorites in the competition, Max Arndt, they have a problem with that also, with the sled just wobbles a little bit coming out of those start grooves. That definitely affects your start speed.
Dvorak, 23, he's the third youngest driver in the field. Oscar's Kubermanis is 22, Benny Meyer, 21, is the youngest. Dvorak driving now for just 3 seasons, but I think this is only his second year in four-man.
This could be a top 20.
Well, he started 15th fastest, he's 19th on splits, he's 20th ahead of Yoon Jung-won of Korea, Billy Meyerhans, Stephen Holcomb, and Lucas Kolb. So that's a good run from the Czech Republic. But the gaps here are tiny. We've got Nick Cunningham in 16th, tied for 16th, 800s back the next sled, a further 1 back the next sled, 20th place 2 further back. There's going to be a lot of changes in the second and third heats before our top 20 is sealed. So, the crew from the Czech Republic slot themselves into the 20th spot at the moment. 24 of our 30 sleds are down. And next up, the Dutch sled of Ivo de Bruin. Now lives out in Calgary with wife Christine, who slides for Canada. Didn't compete in the Worlds last year, but did the Junior Worlds here in Igls 2012. Bronze in the 2-man, 11th in the 4-man, which he was very new to at that stage.
Start time, go off the pace like it was in the 2-man, but, you know, the Dutch had a great morning with the rookie slider coming out of nowhere to finish 7th in the women's. Kimberly Boss, I mean, stunning. Because she started 2 years ago in the Junior Olympic Games here in bobsleigh.
Yeah.
Transferred to skeleton. Now I'm going to try skeleton. Her first World Championship, first time we ever seen her, she finished 7th.
Yeah, she rocked up to the Junior Worlds on a whim this year and took a bronze away in women's skeleton. Whoa, big
skid. Skid for a 4-man. The noise of these things. Ducks. 25th as expected, 25th best start, 23rd best start, 25th bottom time. Dutch need a little funding behind this guy because he proved 3-4 years ago that he is a good driver, good athlete. And when you have limited funds in the sport of bobsled, it's tough to compete.
It is. And as you say, he proved that he can drive. All they need is a bit more speed.
That's curve 8.
Training.
Here's 9. Exit of 9, and this is where that gets. It's tough to get these 4-mans at a skid, but when they do.
Next up is our second sled from the Czech Republic as the Dutch clear the finish area. This is Radek Matušek. Matušek, 26 years old. Second World Championships for him. Background in American football and motocross. So power and handling a fast-moving object. 21st in the 4-man, just missed the cut in Winterberg last year.
Well, the Czechs are, seems like, oh, there's a mishap. With the snow falling, you're gonna see more of that before we're done. We're starting to see some tracks around that first curve, too.
Jaroslav Kopriva was the man at 2 who almost didn't get in. And they hauled him back in. If you leave a man behind, you are immediately disqualified.
Boy, I don't know if the guy settled in there. Look at the head moving around.
He again maybe riding cannonball with his knees under his chin.
Ooh, watch out. Not smooth into that curve. Late here, watch out. No. Gets away with it. The guy's still not back comfortable back there.
Oh, it's a bit of a rocky ride as well.
Yeah, this is, you know.
Oh, high in the final corner.
Yeah.
They feather the brakes into this last turn, and then again braking hard into the station. Oh, straight up gets the manner to Jaroslav Kopriva. That's not unusual. Take a look again. Watch the feet as they try and step up onto the little bunks at the back.
Just slipped.
In fact, it was the guy at 3, Jan Sindelar.
And now it's like, get him in, get him in. But then you got to get in, get down. It's the number 2 guy, and he's the first guy in, so the number 3 and 4 guys can set. So he's got to get in, set, and get ready for the other guys, and they're still moving around. They're on the first curve, and
he's getting his legs around the driver, and they're all stood up in the fresh air, and they know that's not good. They got away without leaving anybody behind. Next up is Dorin Grigore of Romania. And they're getting away quickly as the snow returns here to the track in Igls.
The Romanians wanted me to say that they have the oldest sled in the competition. It's an old DSG sled. And they feel that they're going to go out and train better, get better starts. And they feel that better starts, better equipment. We all know they bring attitude to the table every time they show up.
Yes, they do. 24th in last year's Worlds in Winterberg in Germany. They started 24th fastest, but slipped a couple of spots. Again, the track is not helping. More snow. And the ice getting tired as well, getting a little roughed up as the sleds go over it. Looking lines down the bottom. It's got a very different sound to any of the other sleds we've heard, hasn't it?
Yeah, a little rattle in there.
Crackling noise from under the runners.
100,000 miles on the sled. Yep. They only take about probably 80 trips in a year. So they only put on about 80 miles in a year. But wear and tear, here's curve 9. Slips late. Watch him drive over, hit the wall on the right. Our right, his left.
It's the G-forces in the corners and the taps and bangs on the wall. All those shocks go through the tubes that make up the frame, the chassis of the sled. It's not just the cowling that takes it. Proud Romanian. Proud Serbian next up, Vuk Radjenovic, former wrestler from Belgrade. His team, we met a returning brakeman on the back handles, Damian Zlatnar, who's competed several times, several years for Serbia. Hasn't been in this sled for 2 seasons.
He's a couple-time Olympian, Summer Olympian in hurdles.
Yeah. Competed most recently in London.
Get in, get down, hope for the best.
Well, for a team that's only been together in training this week, that was a pretty decent load.
Listen to this sound too.
Another older sled.
This looks like a Singer or a Wallman. Like a DSG.
Yep. 24th for the start. He's ahead of 3 other sleds at the moment.
Good there.
Chasing the Austrian Lucas Kolb. Still in 24th place. This is the 28th sled down. This is a good-looking run from Vuk Radjenovic. A track that's not giving speed and snow underneath the runners as well. So 25th at the line, ahead of Ivo de Brun, ahead of Dorin Grigore of Romania, and ahead of Radek Matusek of the Czech Republic. He's only 200s behind Lucas Kolb. 20th place is 0.81 off the lead. He's 1.2, so 4 tenths away.
Start cohesion of 4 guys running and then jumping in this little... Kaylee Humphreys was the one that said bathtub to us one day. And then steering this big truck Two man's a sports car, the four man's like a big truck.
And then wrestling it around in the snow and the ice. New stuff for Edson Bindilati in the World Championship. Another rookie driver who previously competed at this level as a brakeman. So Brazil return to World Championship action.
It's not a bad start.
That's a good getaway from these
good athletes here. They're very proud of themselves, the way they carry themselves around the track. And it's great that we have a South American country in the sport.
Coached by former women's world champion Nikki Minicello and Joe Manning. Again, good lines. Not a lot of speed left in the track. Snow now coming down really quite noticeably more than it was in the middle of the heat.
Good lines there.
Yeah. Nice 9 to 10. You can keep it neat and tidy. You've got a good chance of staying in the, maybe within touch.
23.
Yeah. At the line, 24 spot. Behind Stephen Holcomb by 0.2 of a second. So that's not a bad drive. Outstarted by 600ths by the Americans. And he came down only 2100ths behind Holcomb's crew. You got to be happy with that. First world champs as a driver.
Watch the brakeman here. Doesn't look like he came out of that block real comfortable, but these are four very...
Yeah, he's in deep, isn't he?
He's hitting when everybody else is a fraction behind him.
Yeah.
That's why he struggled coming out that block. It's tough hitting that 400-pound deadlift.
And again, you look at some of the most experienced teams, and as you say, they've been pushing together 3, 4, 5 years. These guys, first season as a foursome together. Our 30th and final sled in the first of our 4 heats is Poland's Maciej Luty, 26-year-old. Started at the age of 17 in bobsledding. Last year, 19th in the 2-man, 28th in the 4-man. The Poles competing in men and women's skeleton, 2-man and 4-man bobsleigh, don't have a female bobsled team yet. We suspect that that might not be too far away. And a 5:18 getaway, 22nd in the field. He's up to 21st place on the split times.
Yeah, he's shown some ability to drive. Clean line, exit here, watch the heads. A little tap there, costly.
And the further he goes down, the more the track condition is going to affect his position. He's gone from 21st to 24th on the splits.
Yeah, the track might not have anything left.
Not a lot. 25th spot, 27th at the line, ahead of Ivo de Bruin of the Netherlands, Dorin Grigori of Romania, and Radek Matusek of the Czech Republic. 700ths behind Vukrad Jenovic of Serbia, and 900ths behind Lukas Kolb of Austria. And that completes the first run for Maciej Luty of Poland and for our whole field.
This, you know, I just don't think the track's got any time left. This was good line. Look at the helmets all lined up perfectly. And then this little tap here in the exit of Kreisel, and then that cost him some, but boy, he was way back. It looked like a good drive.
22nd start. They have got the ability to get in the top 20. Francesco Frigic, though, at the other end of the field, right on top of a tight battle. Alexander Kashinov 1500ths back, Nico Walter 1600ths off the lead, Rico Peter 2/10, Max Arndt 22, and Lamin Dean 2500ths back. For a very entertaining second heat. If the weather continues, that could close the gaps right up in this field. Well, look at those gaps down to Benny Meyer and Oskar Melbardis, 3/10 away from the lead. We could well see a lot of changes in that top half dozen, and don't think that Friedrich can't be caught. Don't suggest that he has to be. And again, further back, look around Zakharov, Spring, Jackson. 3 sleds covered there by 0.02 of a second, and Cripp's only 4 in front of that battle. So lots to conjure with in the second heat. And for Stephen Holcomb in the USA, down in 23rd place, he will want to be in the top 20 overnight. He needs to find a 10th more performance, but he will go off after the first 20 sleds. So again, the track will not help him. So that's the first of our 4 heats done here in Innsbruck, Austria. Join us for Heat 2. We come back to the ice at 5:15 local time, 4:15 GMT, which is just under 40 minutes from now. Thanks for joining us. Come back again for the second heat.